Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the Saigon podcast. In this episode, we have Alexander Danje. He is our first Saigon podcast guest that is calling straight from Sweden. I first noticed Alexander online on Facebook when I saw him post this video of him and his partner doing this very special and unique type of therapeutic session where they sat in front of each other, made eye contact, and just said what they felt. It's something that looks so simple yet so powerful. After seeing this, I had this gut feeling that Alexander and his partner are both on this path of awakening. That's when I contacted him to have this conversation. I'm sure there are several people around the world also on this path, and I want to meet all of you. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy this conversation.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Alexander. Hi. How you doing?
Hi. Nice to meet you.
You too, man.
I'm doing fine. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm here chilling in my. I just moved into this room pretty recently.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got some soda that my family sent to me. This is the famous soda I
Inca
brew.
Kola. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Never seen it before. Like, how is it in comparison to Coca-Cola then?
Many people say it tastes like bubble gum, but don't ever tell a Peruvian person that because they'll say
hmm
no. Yeah. And also,
Where are you at?
right now I'm in Saigon, Vietnam.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've been here for about I think almost 7 years.
Mm.
Yeah. And what was that? One of my friends is also here. He might be joining us every now and then too. What's up, man?
Cool. Hi.
How you
What's your
doing?
name?
Mohammed.
Fine. Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Likewise. Likewise.
Awesome. So before this conversation, I haven't looked up any more info about your coaching because I want to hear the story straight from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really curious, how your journey started. Like, how did you become inspired to coach?
Oh, that's very recently that I made that decision, actually. But from my background, I had an spiritual awakening back in 2012, before I had any foundation of meditation or spiritual practices. And that sort of set me into a spin in life. I didn't care about career or being part of society or any of that anymore. And I started drinking because I wanted to write and paint and do creative stuff and just be basically left alone from the world.
Mm.
And that culminated until, after a decade, I was suffering badly. I had these contractions, like within a year after my awakening experience, a contraction started to establish itself in my chest and in my forehead, and it basically never left. So I was in and off in continuous pain, and in and out of dark night of the soul spells. Um,
Wow.
so drinking was sort of my escape and being creative and isolating more and more and more. So over many years, I lost friendships, and I had my partner, and we stayed we had a house out in the woods, but I started to isolate further and further from anybody else, not leaving the house for any occasions. And, eventually I came to this between a rock and a hard place. Like I, I wasn't afraid of dying, but I was afraid of the increase in suffering around Dark Night of the Soul. And given the amount I was drinking, that I was going to go into delirium, like I was going to lose control entirely to my suffering. And that's when I found this new inquiry model. Like for a couple of years, I had been diving towards trauma work, finally understanding that this is about the body, this is about the nervous system, and it's about trauma. Like I haven't, and it's not going to help me to meditate more hours a day, and that's not going to change it. I had come to that conclusion or realization.
Hmm.
And then I started working with this specific inquiry model, directing to the body, like to the contractions, like specifically in a way of sort of detective work, sort of getting into fine tune with what was actually going on in my body and psyche that I wasn't fully aware of. And that was like the beginning of a transformation that's been going on now for 4 years. I was going to say, so like that suffering has released. I've stepped out of isolation big time, going the opposite direction. That relationship ended. I moved out. I had to start life over. And within the community where I learned this model of inquiry, I met a lot of friends. Like that's what was how I was building my network initially. And from there, more and more people wanted to reach out to me and wanted my coaching. So there was sort of a natural unfoldment of it. And only this half year have I stepped out to social media properly, writing more and more, putting out videos to gain a larger outreach. And when I say like what's shifted for me is that the alcohol addiction isn't there anymore for me. Like I've cleared the drivers behind it, so that alcohol isn't a problem. I can have an occasional glass of red wine or beer with a friend, and I don't have the compulsion anymore.
Mhm.
And then I met that in other addictions, and working through, certain programs, you could call it, in my nervous system and psyche, like it has really opened up to understand or connect more with where other people are suffering. So I can sort of tune in a bit to where, how fear builds up for somebody. And as they share their dilemmas or problems, it's like I can tune into where is it, which I call frozen fear, or we could say frozen flow. Like, what is it we believe, or where's the resistance? And then the art becomes to connect to that resistance, not trying to overcome it, but lovingly connect to it, like connect to the part of ourselves that we've lost connection with.
Mhm. So, I wonder, does your coaching method like help your clients also realize their own awakening, like their own awakening experience?
Yes. So I'm starting to see it as a wide spectrum now. Like either I'm going to meet people in more intense suffering and heavy addictions, and what they are going to need is more grounding in the body, like opening the channels of communication to themselves, like sort of first on meeting that intense fear, or what could be fear of fear, self-hatred. Then I also meet people that are very grounded in life. They have careers and family, things working out for them, but they're sort of in spiritual bypassing, which can happen when we find a peacefulness, but we're not yet willing to face our humanness, or we don't know how. And that's where, working with somebody in that place is ideal, to go directly to the core of the issue, which I see as emotional repression, because they're already going to have a foundation and self-responsibility, and then you can look at spiritual bypassing. And if you do that, it's not only this, back here observer awakening that opens up, it's this embodied awareness, like this. I'm not so familiar with um, which is which, but I guess you heard that Zen phrase of returning to the marketplace. We like first we go to the top of the mountain or the cave to find our source of awareness. Once that is done, it becomes about returning to the world and relationships and bring that with you, like that
Mm.
divine embodiment or embodied awareness. So that's the direction I have.
Mm. Does it feel right now like you are a tool that the universe is using?
When I'm not too afraid, when I go for it, which is like embodying leadership or just being in free flow with my expression, then it's clear to me that I'm not doing anything. Like I get to experience this wonderful, loving experience, but I slip back into fear sometimes because that's a continuous work in progress. Like I've worked through certain things, but then I hit a new thing I didn't know was there, and now I have to face it and do the inner work again. So it's
Mm.
a sort of uh, on and off, but that's also something I can navigate by. Am I in fear now? That's going to mess things up. And when I turn to flow, everything just happens, and the synchronicity is everywhere, and there's no effort whatsoever. And yeah, then I could describe it like that, but I wouldn't be thinking about that. It's sort of like falling into your humanity and just enjoying it, just living it.
Mm.
I don't have spiritual concepts in my head when I'm in that.
Mm. I feel like it sounds like life is such like a almost like a movie or a video game or something like so amazing, so magical.
Yeah. I'm curious about your experience with that now. Like I talked so much now.
Yeah, so yeah, my spiritual journey begins with well I found this book spontaneously in a coffee shop. It was called Teach Yourself Zen. And in that book it said something like, what if you are the whole entire universe? Like, it was so amazing. It's like, so who is the you that you thought you were? And then that kind of scared me. But in a good way, because like I like to watch scary movies. So I was like, oh my God, this is scary. I want to find out more about this. Um, so I asked this local monk. I live here in Vietnam, so I asked this monk like, hey, what is Zen? And he just said, oh, come to my pagoda. And then yeah, I went to his pagoda and we just hung out, played guitar, like had some soup with some nice girls. One of those girls became my girlfriend for 3 years. Um, and the monk just gave me a bunch of books. He didn't even talk about Zen. He said, "Hey, read this." And I was like, "Oh,
Mm,
okay." And one of those books was The Power of Now. There was Beginner's Mind by Shunryo Suzuki. There was a lot of books by J. Krishnamurti.
mm,
And pretty much the Krishnamurti books is the ones that resonated with me the most because like it was so straightforward and so like I guess we can say logical. Like he logically explained how the ego is not even a real thing. And I think most people don't even want to look into that topic. It's probably disturbing. But
mm,
for some reason I was just so intrigued by it. I was trying to kill my ego for like 2 years.
mm.
And I thought it was possible by reading books and stuff. Um, yeah. Luckily I had a mentor at that moment that I told him like, oh my God, my head hurts so much because and he's like, why? Like, oh, I'm reading too many Krishnamurti books. And then he told me like, why don't you just chill out?
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
forgot that was even an option. I was like, oh, I forgot we can just relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think since that moment that I stopped being so obsessed with the books, it feels like the new insights come even faster now because I'm not chasing them so much.
Yeah.
And pretty much now, like yeah, I'm new to coaching. I'm trying to figure out how to apply these things that I've learned into a way that can serve other people because I feel like nothing else makes sense anymore. I don't
Yeah.
like 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 the whole idea of like success according to what society has told us, like it just feels like a fairy tale. I'm like, the only thing that makes sense to me right now is to serve until my body
Mm.
is expired.
Mm.
And I feel like you and I are on the same page on this.
Yeah, and I love the book Beginner's Mind,
Mm,
and Jiddu Krishnamurti has been one of the big influencers to me, listening
really?
to his talk and reading. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't
Mm.
have many friends that I can talk to about Krishnamurti.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What happened though was so during the decade after that shift in perspective I had, I was consuming a lot of spiritual gurus like on YouTube and reading books. And it was Adyashanti especially,
Oh yeah.
and Krishnamurti, and a few more like Rupert Spira. Um, but then it was like, perhaps closer to 3 years now that I dropped it. I came to realization like that it's all inherent, and so it is for everybody. But to me, evidently, all of us have a unique unfoldment, unique path, destiny, according to our energy and whatever we got with us into this birth and whatever where experiences took us in our lifetime.
Mhm.
I found that from outward I can indirectly or directly learn more about myself, and I can get sort of keys and signposts of where to look. But I fully realized that it is all inherent. Like the full unfoldment of myself and my experience uh, isn't in need of anything outside of myself. Not anybody's wisdom or insights are actually gonna help me. Like if I follow them too much, they could lead me astray because it could get me to lose the attunement to my own inner guidance system,
Mm.
which is what I believe everybody else to have as well. Like I can't, doesn't matter. I couldn't be further ahead than somebody else or above somebody else simply because of the uniqueness of our different experiences. So I finally learned to not try to impose my insights or wisdom or teaching on somebody else. Like I want to draw people's attraction so I can meet them in communication. But when we're there, I found that whatever I've learned, the best use I can make of it is to deeply listen to somebody and listen with so much concentration that I can ask the right questions or challenge them when they're unwilling to face themselves
Mm.
and be courageous enough to do that with somebody that are willing.
Yeah, what you mentioned just now, it reminds me of the video you posted where you and the woman are making direct eye contact.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I see that from yeah, as the third person, it looks like you guys are meditating into each other's eyes.
Mm. I love this practice. So this is my partner. We met a little over a year ago, not this spring, but last spring.
Mm.
Um, and we're doing a lot of work together now. We're hosting workshops
Ah,
and uh, built a festival early this summer, and now because she has lots of experience of as a therapist and energy healing, like 25 years or so, some
mm.
work experience. Uh, but we have different tools. And I have a specific skill set. She has a specific skill set. So we're trying to merge them now
Wow.
as best we can and help people individually, but also people with relationships, like developing the ability to communicate in relationships, but especially to reach that emotional connection. And that's what I'm devoting myself most to. because I see that it comes down to embodied awareness and the ability to bring it to relationships. Because like if the awakening is only about me, like I realize all these things and then go away somewhere and sit on the countryside, like that is good enough, of course, but to me also it's gonna come to then what's the point? Like I want this to be a completely lived thing where I don't separate myself from the world and other people. And this communication, as you mentioned, where we sit down like this, I that's something we do in workshops and I do on Zoom regularly in my community and whenever I can actually.
Yeah, I think I saw the video of you guys doing that the same day that I learned about this thing called dyads or something. That it when I saw the video of that, it reminded me of what you guys are doing. And they mentioned that it's supposed to be like a combination of spirituality and psychology.
I find that cool, that synchronicity that you found out about Daya the same
Yeah,
day you see this.
that's crazy. But I think in that in like the way they do it is one person will ask like, "Who are you?" to the other person, and then no matter what they say, they keep asking again, "Who are you?" until they stop answering.
Oh, we've been doing exactly this then. We actually had that
Wow.
as an exercise, but how we played it was, what kind of man do you want to be? She asks me, and I answer something. She takes it in, and then she asks me again. She asks me again. She asks me again. And I found how we got deeper and deeper, and I do the opposite to what kind of woman you want to be. What we found out to be so cool was to first ask, what kind of man do you want to be? Doing like 10 questions, 20 questions, in this method. Following it up with, what kind of man are you? And I discovered like the discrepancy because I had ideals of a man I wanted to be, but facing the man I am, that was a bit more painful, walking a little bit of shame and I, of course, I love when these things get evoked, like shame,
Yeah.
uncomfortability, fear. Like that's the use. This is what I want to get aware of, so it's
Mhm.
not in the shadows. Okay, so that's a dyad. Good. Oh, I knew it already.
Cool. Except for when they ask it, they're saying, "Who are you?" I guess they're asking like, "What is the essence of you?"
Yeah,
Like beyond your body, or yeah, what is like the essence of what you are, I guess.
yeah. I like that. I also think that, um, so in spirituality or non-duality, it's about asking the question like, who am I, the Ramana Maharshi, and then abiding in it and everything. And I love that. Like that's the practice I've spent most time with.
Mhm.
But I also discovered how much remains unconscious. Like even if I abide as the self, there's things in the shadows I'm entirely unaware of. And I'm not aware of what I'm unaware of even, or that I am unaware of it. So here's where the opposite direction comes in, as being of so much value to me. So I want to, instead of getting rid of the ego or small self, I want to know more about it. I want to get as aware of it as I can be, because then it's going to fall away by itself. Or
Mhm.
that's how I see it.
Mhm. The ego is like what is it like a story?
Well, so when they refer to the talk in your head, like there's lots of stories, right? I could tell you about my childhood or my identity, nationality or gender, all these different things. But all of that can fall away. And you still have an iceberg of unconscious identity
That's true.
that is stored in your body. Like
Yeah.
that's the big chunk. Um, and then the way I see it, like the creation of the self, the ego, and the world, others, are perfectly natural. That's our whole experience of this life, of universe, of being human. I mean, it's an amazing, and it would be like a paradise beyond heaven if we didn't struggle so much or resist or suffer so much with it. And the way I see it today is that the ego, the self, who I am as a man, a human being, this Swedish guy, whatever, that doesn't matter. That can be perfectly transparent, like perfectly saturated with love, all of it. And I'm not doing any of it. It's just happening. Only the only problem is when I identify with something. And that still happens. Like when I have identity as a man, that's when everything is gonna get evoked. Jealousy, hurt, fear, insecurities, deficiency stories, like I'm unlovable, I'm not enough, I'm not man enough. But my manhood isn't the problem. I can be empowered in it and not give a damn what anybody thinks of me or be entirely unbothered with women and all of it. Given just the natural flow of ego. But when I'm identified with it, that's where I find the problem to be.
Sure. I think I asked ChatGPT, like, who is the one identifying with this? But we couldn't get to an answer. Just like consciousness, but then like, so what is consciousness? Like, yeah, that we don't know.
I'm going to be so presumptuous that I say that I have an answer.
Oh, cool.
And in my experience, it is that like beyond the non-existing observer that is everywhere and is everything, there is also energy here. Like there literally is life force energy. There is the energy of the universe. Like it is here. Either this is going to be in pure flow, or it's going to freeze. Like because of how strong the survival mechanism is in every one of our evolution have honed out this nervous system and this being that each one of us are. And because of the imprints and what I learned as a child, I couldn't completely be myself because then my impression was that I would lose either or both of my parents' love in some way. But for example, if I'm too sad as a little boy, it's like, stop crying. Like maybe I evoke a little bit of shame or anger in my parent. And that's going to leave an imprint. Like that's going to be an early teaching. And that's how I develop emotional repression. Like I held back a lot of sadness. I couldn't easily cry as I can do today. And in any social situation, any relationship, that where my natural response would be to cry or get sad, but my survival mechanism tells me I can't do that. That's when my own body is going to go against myself, so to speak. And if I can't authentically, naturally, spontaneously be myself in the moment, I'm indirectly forced to assume false identity. So in simple terms, like I'll say that fear creates false identity or creates this identity. And if we release fear, there's not going to be any energy or material to make a reason to make an identity. We're just going to be in flow naturally as ourselves. But that's still going to be really risky and vulnerable. And I mean, that can be fearful too, but it's an alive fear. And then you can sort of shift perspective into that fear is also excitement, it's sensitivity, alertness, like it's pure life force. So, but I've thought about this question a lot when I was younger and around religion and everything. Like, But why would, God create suffering, or why would we as consciousness mess this up? Um, and how I see it now, it's this thing happening energetically through our bodies where we misalign. Uh, and that's all. And we can realign again. And then it's going to be more and more in flow.
Mm, I believe that too. Wait, was your family religious when you were a child?
No, but no, they weren't, neither of my parents. But it was sort of growing up. It was through school. And it was the Christianity. So we like regularly needed to go to church. And for all the school ceremonies, it was always in church, and teachers would tell Bible stories as I grew up. So
Mm.
it was an influence, and I mean, it has influenced society, even though Sweden is like the most secular country in the world or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I have some family in Eastad, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think my cousin's father is. I think he's some kind of Christian too. I don't know what branch because there's so many branches now. But in my family, we were. I guess my family is Catholic because we're South American, and yeah, in Peru, basically, like it's kind of like I guess mainstream to be Catholic.
Yeah.
It's almost expected, I guess. Oh, I wanted to ask you, yeah, as an adult now, like, and after you've had all of these insights, yeah, how do you feel about Jesus?
Well, yeah, during since the shift, many of the Bible stories came back, and I saw them in a new light. Because as a child and teen, I hated I hated religion, like because I saw it as such an dominant, oppressive force, kind of. But afterwards, all these stories and the symbolism come into new light, and yeah, I don't think about Jesus often, but now and then I see some part of his life experience in a new light. And the strongest, uh, st- yeah, um, Adyashanti has written a book, The Resurrection of Jesus. I love
Uh-huh.
that book, and and he was able to make Jesus human and describe his path as a spiritual awakening path,
Mm,
and that really connected to me. And that is to me looking at Jesus as an actual human being that lived, and this was his experiences and insight.
mhm,
Then I guess you can also look at the symbolism of it, and the symbolism that often comes to my mind at later years has been the crucifixion, like that. I see it as this element of discipline required in life to remain in alignment, remain aware with all the influences that has such a gravitational force to get us out of staying aligned and aware.
mm,
Here's where Krishnamurti really speaks to me also, like having the sense perceptions and the the now, the fullness of now, having that as sort of a leverage to stay alert, to stay awake, to not fall asleep again, to not fall into habits again.
mm,
Um, and I think for some reason the crucifixion has gotten to be a symbolism for that in my mind. That it's sort of negative, sounds really negative, that life is a crucifixion to be, because I see that pain is a central element of being a human being. Is then just how either it keeps us sharp and alert and awake, or
mm,
we succumb into some form of suffering, often unconscious.
mm. Yeah, now that I see it that way, it's like I guess like pain is good sometimes, like, especially like if I touch the hot stove, I need pain so I can pull my hand away and I melt my fingers.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang, yeah. Oh yeah. So you mentioned that you okay, so you follow Adyashanti and Krishnamurti. But what about any like female spiritual teachers?
Mm. I've been thinking about that, like how I mostly followed men and how that creates this patriarchal view. Um, as I mentioned, like I haven't followed anybody for 2 years.
Mm,
And before that, like I listened to a couple of women, but I don't remember their names right now. Like they didn't make such a strong impact on me, I guess. And now, like for several years now, I've seen the rise of more and more female leaders within spirituality, which I appreciate.
mhm,
Um, so this is now not answering your question here, but I have a follow-up on that, something I discussed with my partner also,
mm,
that there, I think there are core differences in the male view or the female view on, life experience and spirituality, and that it's always going to be certain differences. And that's a good thing because then there's possibilities of a more dynamic and rich, full perspective. Yeah.
mm,
I just wanted to bring that in also. Like, I'm not following now anybody, but I see the value of women
mm.
leaders.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I said follow because when I think about it, like, yeah, I don't follow anyone right now, but I do trust some specific teachers and even the ones that have already passed, like Jesus, Buddha, and I trust them completely. And I feel like if I'm in some kind of life situation that requires their specific teaching, I feel like it appears in that moment. Like in the example of Jesus, like I didn't really think much about Jesus, honestly, until like a few months ago, where I felt like I was dealing with some like shadow work related to guilt, like guilt about taking action in the past that was of low awareness, and I hurt other people and hurt myself too. And just thinking about that, it like produced so much guilt in me. And in that moment, I looked up the mountain here in Vietnam, and there's like a huge statue of Jesus. And then I was like, oh yeah, Jesus would forgive me because Jesus is unconditional love. And it just felt like exactly what I needed in that moment.
Have you asked yourself this? Can you forgive yourself completely for some of your past actions?
Yeah, I feel that I can, and at the same time, I feel that the guilt will come in waves. It's like a wave will come, I'll let go of that, and then I'll just continue my day, and then maybe a few days later or a few weeks later, another wave of guilt will appear. But at least the next wave is smaller than the last one. But there was like a point like in the beginning of these guilt waves that was like in 2023. It was really hard for me. It was like crippling. And like my mental health was not good. Like I could hear my thoughts just being really nasty. But yeah, like luckily it's decreased significantly, and I would say it's almost done, it's almost complete. But yeah, I guess I'm just letting it come as it comes, like in whatever waves it shows up.
Yeah. And I see that as very common and natural, depending on not what we did or not, but depending on the degree to which we can have identity with unconsciously. Um, and when I decided to do this self-inquiry and uncovering what was at the, driving it in forms of trauma and repression and everything, there was this initial phase where I suddenly got aware that I'm ashamed all the time. Like in every relationship I'm in almost every exchange, there's going to be an element of shame evoked in my experience. I had no idea. It was entirely below what I was aware of. Um, and then I had a friend within this community where I started off. And she said she discovered how her whole identity was in shame, like a hazmat suit of shame.
Mm,
And it was so valuable to hear her say that, because then I realized, yeah, that's how my experience was too. And I
mm,
think there are many people that are in different degrees of that, and it's not fully recognized.
mm.
Like,
I guess it must feel scary to talk about sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Alexander. I actually let's see, I have about 1 minute left. Do you have any final message for this episode for our listeners?
Uh, Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yeah, I'm absolutely certain on that. If we talk about healing, awakening, mm, entering into wholeness, living from wholeness, wherever you're at, whatever your experience.
I felt like in the beginning of this journey, it felt uh pretty lonely, I guess, because I didn't know who to connect with, and I would try to tell like my family and friends the stuff that I'm learning, but it just made no sense in the moment, and I didn't know how to express it in a way that would make sense. Yeah. Did you experience
I
something
know.
similar?
Yeah, that was part in driving my isolation. I really believed I was so alone in this, and that I couldn't communicate or reach out. Like core and that core experience, I felt saddened realizing how on earth am I going to tell anybody about this, or how am I going to transmit it? Or that's where I started, and now it feels, how couldn't I see before? I don't know, but I was in this isolation around it, um, and now these past years, I'm surprised, continuously surprised, about how many people talk about this and have a genuine interest for this.
Mm,
Um, I mean, it's still rare if you bring in humanity as a whole and all people. Uh, uh, from where I started, it's surprisingly more people open to the essence of it, and
mm.
willing to learn more, discover more.
I was pretty surprised. Last week I hosted my first spiritual book club ever,
Mm.
just here in the city. And it did actually attract like three people I'd never met before that they were genuinely interested in this.
Yeah,
And we had been reading like similar authors and similar books. I was like, wow, so you guys have been here all along. I didn't even know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's part of it. Like we have to raise our voice and
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's like, oh
discover.
my gosh. It's like I was trying to find them instead of hosting an event to attract them. That was like the much more
Yeah,
efficient way to meet them.
yeah. I find it's so cool how we connected very fast also.
Yeah,
I didn't know before. It was just, yeah, on Facebook. Like so many other of my contacts this year has been on through Facebook, and just by
cool.
writing posts. Yeah.
Yeah, I've met several people now through different Facebook groups, mostly like spiritual Facebook groups and we've had great conversations.
Yeah.
Actually, we stay in touch pretty regularly now because like we're
Yeah.
on like, a similar path, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I was curious so you're from Peru, and that's where
Yes,
you.
I was born in Peru, and when I was about 2 years old, I moved to America, to Virginia with my family.
Hmm. So you have a like American upbringing, living in the States.
Yeah, yeah. So like living in America, like in my like at home, we had like the Peruvian programming, and then when we step outside the door, is the American programming, and so
Yeah.
somehow like yeah, we had to live in those two worlds, I guess.
Yeah. And 7 years ago, you traveled to Vietnam. Had you already decided to stay, or was there what happened there?
Yeah, I was about to leave like back when COVID first started. But that was the same time that I met the monk and that I met my girlfriend at that time. So I decided to stay. Um, and then just I feel like just the years go by so fast
Yeah.
that yeah, before you know it's like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, like wow.
Mm.
Like now I'm starting to count, like I'm trying to guess how much time I have left by counting how many football World Cups I might have left.
Mm.
So I think now I'm at like fifth, maybe 15 or 16 or something. I think.
Mm. And you think you're gonna stay in Vietnam, or if it's possible for
I
the rest
don't
of your
know.
life?
I think I guess it's wherever the flow takes me. Right now I'm here, but I could easily go somewhere else. Yeah, I don't it would be nicer to have my family closer to me, I
Mm.
think. So like if right now I suddenly became rich, I would buy some house near here to bring my family here.
Mm.
If they want to come. I don't know. I know Asia is a big like culture change from where they live now.
But isn't what's your experience of Asia culturally?
It's different than American, but it's more similar to Latino, I would say. Because we have like similar family values. Um, there's definitely more pressure in Asia to marry. There's a lot
Mm.
of pressure for that. I think especially for women. I think for men too, but I think women have more pressure. Like it seems like many families expect their daughters to be married by like 23, 24, 25. And if they haven't, then everyone is like, hey, so like when's it gonna happen? Like when's the
Yeah.
wedding? Do
Yeah.
you have a new boyfriend? Like everyone's also asking like people here will ask you often like, so are you married?
If people ask me that,
I mean here like in Vietnam, like
mm.
if you live here either as a local or a foreigner, I feel like people often ask, are you
Oh,
married?
oh, huh, yeah,
And if you say no, it's
fascinating.
like, why not?
Yeah, it's interesting, these patterns. Mm. I I experience Asia though as sort of grounded, matter-of-factly, and welcoming. Like, I've been in China for half a year and in Thailand for a month, and I
Mm,
never felt threatened by anybody anywhere, I'd
mm,
say. And that's not the same here where I live or in Western countries.
mm.
Yeah.
It does
Here's
feel
more like,
Asia is safer than where I live in Virginia too.
yeah, it's like, okay, here it isn't the question, are you married? But it's more like, what do you work? Do you work or do you study? What do you work with?
Ah, okay. Ah, in Sweden?
Yeah, I
Mm,
think so. Not like the where I'm networking now. It's just more and more with people that are in flow modern hippies or dedicated to inner work somehow. And so finally, this isn't the number one question. Luckily, you can meet people for first time, spend a whole evening, and that question isn't even asked.
mm. Yeah, I think in America it's yeah, I think the common questions is yeah, what do you do? Maybe what did you study? Not even what did you study, just where did you study?
Yeah,
Yeah, where
funny question. What's the point of that? Like it's determine where you're at in the hierarchy.
I guess in their like paradigm, the different universities have different weight or different value or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I studied political science in university because I thought that I could use that major to be helpful to people. I think I still can, but not in politics. I kind of
Mm.
like lost faith in politics and government, and yeah, I think I kind of stopped expecting them to to care about people, I think. I don't know, maybe that sounds kind of sad.
I don't believe in politics either in that sense. I don't think politics can change people or the world. Like it's too superficial in my view. So I believe in what starts from humans themselves. Like, and I'm curious around that because you mentioned your desire to be of service,
Mm.
and already back then when you were studying. Um, so I'm curious what you have faith in and how today you're being of service or moving towards being more of service, or how's your lived experience around this?
Mm. Also, the first part was what do I believe in, right?
Mm.
I'm not sure. Like, just what comes to mind first is like I believe that everything has a source, and the source of everything is too extraordinary to even describe or calculate. And it feels like all of us have a connection with this source. And then how do I serve people now? What I can help people with now is to, well, basically like help them to reduce burnout with the things that I've learned throughout these past few years, like how to manage their mind, how to reprogram their minds. Although I don't like the word reprogram because I don't want to, it's like I want to like uninstall people's limiting beliefs, but I don't
Mhm.
want to install a new one. I want to leave it empty and just to let it grow on its own.
Mm.
Because I trust that more than if I were to like have a little toolbox of new beliefs to install in their mind. Like I don't, I wouldn't trust my own box. I trust that their mind can grow the right fruits without me having to plant seeds in there.
I resonate 100% with all what you just said, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, so and as a coach, I'm brand new to coaching and I'm brand new to business. I have some friends now that are helping me build the website and all this stuff. Because like, I don't know anything about that yet. That's all new to me.
yeah. Yeah, likewise. I don't have a homepage yet.
Mm.
Uh, so I'm going by social media and friends. Yeah, yeah.
And you're probably already like attracting your clients anyways, right?
Yes, so I started off this year, and I don't remember, I had 7 or 8 clients. A couple of them, like, I'm buying 3 sessions or I want to work through this. And currently, I have 2 continuous clients that that I meet every week with. And I'm still learning and fine-tuning with also finding my ideal client, which is going to be somebody that are most responsive to what I in particular can communicate or help them with, guide them with, or uh, where we can connect the most. So mm, what I'm where I want to arrive at now is 10 clients a week, 10 steady clients a week, or if there's some fluctuation with a few of them, and that I come closer and closer to meeting my ideal client.
Mm.
I'm not there yet, and it's not like I have to achieve this now for economical reasons. Like I can smooth sail for a couple of years, and I want to use that time period to ground myself more. Because I really believe that when I make an effort to try to reach out, but I really strive for it, I fail every time. And when I forget about doing that, or drop that ball and I can reconnect to myself, people just come to me
Mm.
from, and it just happens. I have no idea how. I can just stand there 2 months later. How did all this happen? Uh, so yeah, that's where I fluctuate between going into fear again, trying to control things, and just dropping that and having the amazing flow happen.
Mm.
But it's a learning, I guess, when we do really new things, because coaching, reaching out to people, all of that is entirely new to me
Mm.
in that sense also.
I heard this coach say it's easier to manage a relationship than to manage a business. And I
Yeah.
feel like that gave me so much hope.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God.
Yes. Yeah. That would be my advice. That's what I've learned this half year. That everything I did according to the rules of good sales or reaching out didn't come even near. It felt uncomfortable all the time. I don't want to do that. But I thought, well, how then do I communicate to others to reach them? I have to do something, I guess. But then I discovered, well, what I love is relationships with people where we are just being real and then come closer and closer to us in our hearts, and that reveals and liberates us. And um, it's through the relationships that everything happens. Like it's through the relationship I get clients or
Mm.
members or people interested, or things unfolds. So that's shifted my perspective. Oh, it all comes down to the actual thing I love. Well, thank you. And
Cool.
it's maintaining and nurturing relationships and
Mm.
just being honest with somebody, um, but more and more vulnerably. So yes.
That reminds me, yeah. Yeah, last year I did a pretty bad job at networking. I think I spent a lot of time in my room. So of course I didn't meet many new people.
Yeah.
Then I would be wondering like why haven't I met any new people? So, oh wait, I've been in my room like every day after work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually after this conversation I'm gonna make myself go to this local networking event. I
Cool.
still, yeah, I still have to like make myself go because I still feel pretty shy to go, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I think it's time that I head over there now. So thank you,
Yeah.
Alexander. I'll see you next
Thank
time.
you so much. Yeah.
Take care.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah.